點樣走啊？
走去邊啊？
我哋
走得去邊啊？
哇，越嚟越大風。
走出去仲危險啦，喺屋企啦。
What is going on in Hong Kong lately? I just reported about a tower fire, a massive fire in Hong Kong, and now it's not one tower on fire, it's several towers on fire. The Hong Kong tower fire at the Wang Fuk Court. What is really happening there, guys? Here is the latest. And it's really one of the most shocking and tragic fires that Hong Kong has seen in decades. I have never seen anything like this in modern time. So this is a fire. You see it behind me. It has turned a quiet afternoon into an absolute nightmare. A fire that has spread so fast that even firefighters said they have never seen anything like that. And this happened in the Tai Po district. That's a large housing estate that is called the Wang Fuk Court. It consists of 8 residential towers, and each one of these towers is more than 30 stories high. So very, very tall towers. And together they make up roughly 2,000 rental units, and almost 5,000 people are living there. And if you see the pictures behind me and you hear the number 5,000 people, that is really scary. So on Wednesday afternoon, around 2:50 p.m. local time, everything has changed within minutes. So these towers burst in flames as quickly as the last tower that I've shown you just a few weeks ago. So thick smoke began rising from the scaffolding on the outside of one of the towers. It's always the scaffolding of these towers. And the one that we have there, it's not just normal scaffolding. This was bamboo scaffolding. It was wrapped tightly in green construction netting. Same thing that we had with the last fire. The buildings were under renovation. The workers had covered the entire exterior with flammable materials and insulation boards. This is kind of crazy itself. So what started as a small ignition suddenly became a massive wall of fire, and the flames shot upward along these bamboo poles like a fuse. They climbed from floor to floor, higher and higher, very, very fast, and then they jumped from one building to the next, and the fire has spread across several towers in just minutes, guys. And people inside, there were people inside. They said they heard no fire alarm, nothing, no loudspeaker, nobody warning them. So some were only warned by their neighbors banging on their doors, "Get out, fire, fire." Horrible, guys. Others were alerted by security guards that belonged to the building. They were running floor to floor, shouting for everyone to get out. Kudos to these people that they just didn't run out and save themselves. They stayed and tried to get out as many people possible. And the missing minutes of the fire alarms, no fire alarms going off, no smoke detectors going off, they made everything worse because inside the buildings, thick smoke filled the corridors, makes it difficult to breathe, toxic fumes that can get you unconscious pretty quickly. And the problem with these fires is, in a lot of house fires, by the way, people die from smoke inhalation, not the actual fire, even when they get out, for example, sometimes. And oh, by the way, I just read an article. Now in modern wood constructed homes, you have only 3 to 4 minutes from the moment the fire starts to get out alive. Basically, in older homes, you have 14 minutes. That's due to some materials, open floor plans, that just on a side note. So many residents, unfortunately, and that makes the tragedy so heartbreaking, were elderly people and had mobility problems. And then imagine you're so high up in a tower. They couldn't run down 20 to 30 flights of stairs, especially not quickly. That is really a problem. And some became trapped in their apartments. Some tried to reach the roof, and others went to their windows screaming for help. This is horrible, horrible, horrible. And witnesses said they heard desperate voices echoing between the towers, parents calling for their children, people crying out from the balconies, and the sound of bamboo collapsing and burning. And since the fire is outside of these towers, going outside on the balcony might not be the best choice, but what else can you do? And that sound must have been horrible. You hear it partly in the videos that I'm showing you. And of course, firefighters were rushing to the scene. Hong Kong raised the alarm straight to level 5. That's the highest possible alert. More than 100 fire engines and ambulances have arrived. Ladder trucks tried to reach the upper floors, but the heat, that's the problem, guys. The heat was so intense that they had to retreat again and again because they couldn't make it, they couldn't progress further. And burning bamboo poles started also then falling from the buildings, falling down, making the rescue operations from down below even harder. And some hit the ground and they were still on fire. So pieces of flaming construction netting also was floating in the air that could ignite other buildings. Small fires, because of that, started on the streets below, and fire crews had to extinguish these fires as well. And you can imagine that also traffic around this district came to a complete stop, and people stood on pedestrian bridges watching their homes burn, basically. And some held blankets, some held plastic bags with the only belongings they could grab. Others had nothing on them at all. And a heartbreaking moment, guys, really, really heartbreaking moment came when a 71-year-old man stood on the street crying, and he said that his wife is still inside. He had no idea if she had escaped or not, and he was not alone with that fear. Hundreds of families waited outside with absolutely no information on their loved ones, and all of this happened because the fire just didn't stay outside on the scaffolding. It broke through windows. It entered quickly hallways and apartments. And some experts now say the exterior wall materials that they used for the renovation, things like polystyrene insulation, they have actually may have acted like fuel. These materials can burn extremely fast and release toxic smoke. They are basically made out of fuel, right? So, but there's more that was not in favor of this disaster. The wind conditions that afternoon helped the fire pump from tower to tower. The scaffolding and the green construction mesh also acted like a giant chimney. Once the flames reached the upper floors, it was impossible to stop. So by the evening, the fire had become this disaster of this enormous scale that we see here in the videos. And the confirmed numbers that we already have right now, guys, are absolutely heartbreaking. We know that at least 44 people have been lost and 62 people are injured, many in critical condition with severe burns and smoke inhalation. And the scary part is the authorities say that 279 people are still missing. And if you see what's happening to these towers, what are the chances? So rescuers are still searching floor by floor. One firefighter, only 37 years old, was also lost during his attempt to rescue people that were trapped inside. Roughly 900 residents were evacuated to community centers, and the schools have turned into emergency shelters. And inside of these shelters, volunteers rushed there, prepared warm meals, water, blankets, because many people arrived barefoot or still in their pajamas. So some didn't even have a phone or something. So charities set up hotlines. Counselors are sitting with families who had no idea whether their loved ones had survived. Crying children everywhere, people in shock, especially the old people in shock. The psychological impact is huge, guys, as you can imagine. And now, of course, people and the city of Hong Kong is asking difficult questions. How could this spread so fast is the one point. But on the other hand, how could the alarms fail? What was happening? Did they turn them off during the renovation? They should not. So were these renovation materials legal and fire resistant? Well, obviously they were not fire resistant. We know that now. Was that scaffolding inspected properly? Was anyone cutting corners to save money? That's the question. And we already have arrests. Police have arrested 3 people, 2 company directors and an engineering consultant. So they are being investigated for gross negligence and manslaughter. So if this is proven that the materials were unsafe or that the safety rules were ignored, there will be major consequences for these people, and there should be. But experts are also pointing out something very important. This bamboo scaffolding, Hong Kong uses that everywhere. It's traditional, light, it's flexible, and it's cheap. So, but in dense, high-rise cities, it becomes dangerously flammable if not protected or treated. So I don't really think that's a good idea. And because it wraps entire buildings like a cage, and then it acts like as if you put matchsticks around a building. So the government had already announced plans to phase out bamboo scaffolding earlier this year, and we've seen the other fire. But at Wang Fuk Court, their renovation used the old method. And the combination of bamboo, this netting, the foam insulation, and dry winter air was the cause for this devastation, for this tragedy. Fire crews continue right now deep into the night. They're moving through floors that are filled with debris and twisted bamboo. They're searching for survivors. They're putting out hot spots, and they're checking whether these high-rise towers are still structurally safe after this intense blast. And the community, that's a big issue. They're facing now a long and painful road to recovery because hundreds of families lost their homes. Some lost everything they owned. Some lost parents, children's, partners. And for thousands of people from the Tai Po district, the sight of these burning homes will stay in their memories forever. So this tragic fire is now forcing Hong Kong to really rethink safety in a city that is packed with skyscrapers, so tightly packed together. And it should also force other cities to rethink or recheck their safety measures that are in place. Because if rules are ignored when renovations cut corners, or even new building processes cut corners, or when materials are not properly checked, entire buildings can become traps, devastating traps. And I think one thing is clear: once that smoke will clear, this disaster will change Hong Kong. It will change regulations. It will change how scaffolding and building materials are allowed to be used. It will probably change, hopefully, conditions in many other cities too. And it will also change, I'm sure, how people think about safety in high density housing areas. But for the families of the Wang Fuk Court, the recovery is just beginning, or will begin in the next few hours and days. The emotional scars will remain long after the flames have been extinguished, guys. Horrible tragedies going on all over the world, guys. Check the link in the description and the end screen here if you want to see more that is going on all around the world. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, as this one's not monetized, go to the link in the description. I have a Buy Me a Coffee site. And yeah, I hope I see you in the next video. And if you could subscribe and like and hype this video, that would be great. Thank you so much, guys. I see you in the next one in a second.